All right, Scott Brooks there, and with that, we bring in Joe Borgia, the Senior Vice President of Replay and Referee Operations, for a couple of block charge questions for you, Joe. Starting with a close one from the first quarter. Walk us through it, if you would. Tell us why this turned out to be a defensive foul.
Well, John Wall is going over the screen from Marcin Gortat, and Avery Bradley tries to force his way over the screen. So in order for Avery to be in a legal guarding position, he has to get directly in John's path prior to contact. And I think when you watch this zoom in, he's sort of just not quite there. He's still moving to his left, and he sort of gets him on the shoulder. So that is a blocking foul, and I know a lot of fans, especially in the Northeast, thought that should have been an offensive foul.
And he is such a good individual defender. He made it a lot closer than most defenders probably would have there as well. Late in the game, and this is one that I think tripped up a lot of folks, Marcus Smart was called for a blocking foul. The officials go over to replay and reverse it. Explain, A, if you would, what the trigger was for review, and B, why they reversed it and called an offensive foul on John Wall.
Well, we have a block charge situation that's close to the restricted area, and we're in the last 2 minutes of the fourth period. So the trigger for the review is the officials had doubt whether Marcus was in or out of the restricted area. And when you see the replays here, you see he's clearly out, but he got knocked back into the restricted area. So the first thing the replay official did in here, we determined that Marcus was outside the restricted area. Now, 3 years ago, we added to this review, you also can look to see if Marcus was in a legal guarding position. So what's a legal guarding position here? Marcus has to be at the spot. He has to have his shoulders to hips at the spot prior to John starting his upward motion to shoot. And the replay official determined Marcus was at that spot prior to John starting his upward motion, so the call was overturned to an offensive foul.
And just to follow up, Joe, there's no particular criteria, or maybe there is, in terms of the officials deciding that they want to review the play in regards to the restricted area.
Well, the criteria is they have to have doubt whether the defender was in or out of the restricted area. That's the criteria. And listen, you know, obviously replay we can look at it and say, my goodness, he was way out. But you got to realize the official's looking at the offensive player driving.
Sure.
He's trying to pick up the defender in a legal position. And, oh, by the way, try to pick up that line. And a lot of times that contact happens, and the next thing you look and you see the defender is in the restricted area. And that throws a little doubt into your head. And I think if you watch the clip clearly, you're going to see it's actually the opposite slot official came in and questioned the referee because by the time he picked it up, he said, you know what, let's make sure. I mean, this is a critical call in a critical game, so just to be sure, they came over and checked.
I had doubt myself because I had forgotten that that rule change went in that they could change the call outside of the restricted area part. So guilty here. This is why we have you on, Joe. Joe Borgia with us.
That's why I'm here, Matt, just for you.
I appreciate that. Joe Borgia with us from Secaucus, New Jersey, as always.